let's go ahead and turn our attention to PulseChain. So, I mean, finally, we've been talking about this double bottoming scenario with PulseChain for a while. And remember, like, bottoms aren't necessarily like, okay, did you hit the exact bottom that you had back in like August of 2023 necessarily? No, we got dangerously close. But I mean, we've been in this basically double bottoming range for a couple of months now. And we've seen some really bullish action over the last week or two that has been extremely encouraging, where we have Pulse basically at a 50% discount off of the SAC rate right now. Pulse X has been absolutely melting. I mean, overall price historically is terrible. What I mean, in terms of expectation against Pulse and everything, it's been melting faces. It's been doing fantastic. We've seen, rotations from Pulse into Pulse X and then vice versa. But Pulse X basically at an all-time high. We talked against Pulse, I should say. We talked with you a couple of weeks ago about that axis. But wherever you want to go first, what are you seeing with PulseChain's chart? I mean, it's, I think starting to look really bullish and turn around. But yeah, whatever direction you want to take it first.
Yeah, so the ETH ETFs was the first bullet point we needed to do and see, and so we got that, and so now we know that there's hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into the Ethereum space now, that's a thumbs up number one. And so leading into this, I mean, it was front ran on the 4 hour here. You can really see the kind of strength that came into the market here at these lows. PulseChain bottomed and did a 45% move over 9 days, 20 hours, that's a tremendous feat. It's a pretty small market still, but that's a nice movement. Let's see, volume wise, it did $15 million, which, by the way, is the equal amount as there is on the bid side. So there's $15.4 million of DAI in here, and this thing did a 50% move effectively with the same amount of money as that's in the bid side. So maybe it's a sign of things to come. If we did 15 million again, now you're at 100% off the lows, but it might even get easier to move. If that sell wall is removed, of course, we have to consider that now that's kind of going to act like additional pressure. As a matter of fact, I calculated that that sell wall, which we'll get into in a minute, it's actually a $4.5 million sell wall because, and I guess it's time to explain something that most people miss, and Sami missed this as well. I love you, Sami, but when you have a wall and it starts at a certain price and it ends at another price, the total value of that wall is the average of from the lowest price to the highest price. So if it starts at 3 million and ends at 6 million, like if it's worth 3 million here and it's worth 6 million here, and it gets filled all the way through, half of it got filled from 3 to 4.5, and half of it got filled from 4.5 to 6. So your average is 4.5 million on that wall, not 2 million or 3 million or whatever we said it was. So yeah, you have to factor in the width of the wall and what the fill price will be, and then what the average fill price is for if the wall fully gets executed.
It's not always that simple, though, is it, Axis? Because you may have so much at the 3 level, and then you've got an uneven amount at 4, and then an uneven amount at 5, and then so on and so forth. So it doesn't stay static the whole way through, right? I mean,
correct. I'm talking about just a single position like this guy put down, which was like
I got you. Okay, you're talking about one.
When we're calculating global parameters, then yeah, you have to factor in everybody's walls, everybody's capital, all the ranges. Yeah, so then it gets a little bit more complex.
You're talking about one particular individual's cell wall.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me try to pull it up here. Because it's important, I guess, to know kind of. It's not that much money when you figure how much volume PulseChain is capable of. We had like a $50 million day one time. Like it's okay, guys. Like it ain't gonna stop us.
Right.
See if I can find it. Is this it? Yeah, this is the wall. So you can see it's this huge wall, and it starts here at 20,000 pulse per DAI, and it ends at 8,000 pulse per DAI. So it's more than a 2x. So if it's $3 million of value here, and it's $6 million of value here, you have to cut it in half and assume that just this big brick is one guy, one position. The average price is a little over 4.5 to 5 million if it gets filled all the way through. It doesn't get pulled halfway. But oftentimes it'll get pulled, like you get a little bit into here, it gets pulled, or it's like it's a bluff. So they'll put a bluff in here to try to suppress price. And they'll come in here, they'll look at it to here, and then they'll sell into it, and then they'll pull it. so that it's just acting like something to slow it down so it doesn't just go vertical. Yeah, a couple different thoughts on that.
Wow.
So yeah, I can't wait to just continue on because there's just so much in this pulse chart. I like the pulse chart against DAI, but like we want to know more about the data. So like, well, where else can we look to see relative evaluation, relative power in the pulse chart? Well, we need to measure it against its twin turbo sister Ethereum, and when you do that, you get this chart. And so this chart, it made new all-time lows against Ethereum. So this is when you're measuring pulse in Ethereum denomination. This macro setup here. So this is all the data I can get on pulse in Ethereum, or pulse measured in Ethereum. It bottomed once in August, made a lower low again in December, made a lower low on the wick here in April, and then it bottomed out here on May 27th. And ever since then, it's built out this bullish divergence. It's massive, but it's subtle. And the only way to really tell is if I blow up this RSI, and you can actually see the slope is actually on a positive slope here. So we're in agreement, right? That's on a positive slope.
Looks good to me.
Yeah. So that's a massive bullish divergence that's forming where Pulse is saying, I'm better than you, Ethereum. Yeah, you might have taken me to new lows, but we're not done here. And so then we have to zoom in a little more and see, well, what's going on a little more locally in the price action. And a couple things happened. It's been range bound between this 7 zeros and a 114 to 7 zeros and a 157. Doesn't really matter. Yeah.
What was the date of that candle?
This bottom happened on the 27th of May.
Not long after the launch, 1 year after the launch.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how poetic is that? So
There
this
you go.
range, range is a
52 weeks,
37% range. So it's just, it's ping ponging around inside of this 37% range. Inside of here, it created this descending channel. If it were created on like a post, it would look something like this, right? It'd be like a pole, and then you'd get the flag, but that's not what this is. This is at a bottom of in a range bound kind of position. So this isn't a bull flag, but this is a descending channel with a breakout and a retest and a wick back up and a retest and a wick back up. And here on the 3-day chart, this is actually printing a bullish hammer at the top of a consult. So this is basically bullish hammer, which you typically get at the bottom of a range, but you're getting it at the top of a range. And so this is consolidation below the top of the range, looking for a breakout. Yeah. So yeah, we're looking good against ETH right now. And that's good, coming right off of the ETH ETF. And I will keep in mind, BlackRock's got a lot of Ethereum, Grayscale's got a lot of Ethereum, but you know what? Those guys have zero PulseChain. So
right.
that's bullish.
Can't
for
sell
us.
it. Yeah, this is definitely, and this is the chart that I think to be really paying attention to. I mean, yeah, you can look at the pulse to DAI chart and see that it's turning around, but I mean, this one is really the one to test your salt when it comes to being really any altcoin, I think, in crypto right now.
Well, I think also because the majority of our value comes from this, right? I mean, there's so much that has bridged over that's making the values that we have. That's why I think this is the most important one.